Angie, and today at Canterbury Trails Farm we're dehydrating pumpkin and squash so we can store it in our quart mason jar with one canning lid. And this is a great way to avoid using up your stock of canning lids and have an ample supply of preserved dried pumpkin and squash to mix in with soups and stews and casseroles. So let's get started. Okay, we got all the pumpkin cut into squares and slices, and we're going to put those into the dehydrator, and we'll be back when it's time to put them in the jar. It has been about 5 hours, and now our dehydrated pumpkin is ready to go in the jar. And I have just a quart mason jar, and I've labeled it with squash and pumpkin 2020, and I have 2 food grade moisture absorbers in here, and I'm just going to put my dehydrated pumpkin in there. And this can be later on, I can add this to stews and soups and casseroles, and it just comes in really handy. And this is just a really good way to preserve your pumpkin and or squash without having to use too many canning jars. I am sure you know that there is a canning lid shortage, not a ring and not a jar. Although I have seen some people talking about it's difficult to find jars. I don't have a problem finding jars. It is very difficult to find lids, and I'm okay as far as stocked up, but anytime I can diversify my preservation and storage methods, I want to do that. And so this is a good way. Pumpkin and squash, I would just be adding, we wouldn't be eating this by themselves usually anyway, so this is a way that I can preserve it. And you can see I'm going to be able to get that entire medium-sized pumpkin into one jar. And if I was canning it in chunks, it would take multiple jars to do that. But this way it's good to add to anything that you're simmering in the crock pot, like a slow cooker, or if you're making a soup, anything that's going to have a lot of liquid in it and that is going to be on a slow cooking over multiple hour kind of thing, or casserole that has plenty of liquid such as broth in it. So there is the entire, I had a little bit of acorn squash already down in there, and this doesn't even fill up the entire quart jar. This is an entire medium pumpkin. Plus I've saved all my seeds, and they are drying so I can use those next year in the garden. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can cover cookie sheets with foil, put it in the oven at about 200, 250, and let that, you can then crack the door of the oven. Things like pumpkins and squash, I would probably go ahead and close the door and do it on just 200, 250. And you're going to have to check it a lot more. Obviously with the dehydrator I have see-through, I can see how it's going. But probably about the same amount of time, really, whichever method you choose to preserve it. This has been Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Thanks for joining us.